Hello, friends, and welcome back to a new lesson. Well, I hope that you are doing well. I am great, doing wonderful, and so happy that you have decided to join me one more time. So let's go ahead and start right away. The first thing that I want you to do is I want you to just look at this question. Okay, pause the video, take a few seconds or a minute or two, and tell me what is a sentence. What is a sentence? Okay, so I hope that you wrote your answer on the chat box for us to be able to see it. And we're going to go straight into our topic for today, which is sentences in the simple past tense. That's right. So this is a continuation of our previous lesson. Okay? And our clear learning target is I can identify and write different sentences in the simple past tense using regular verbs. Okay, let's go ahead and read it together. Are you ready? Okay, one, two, three. I can identify and write different sentences in the simple past tense using regular verbs. And that, friends, is our target for this lesson. So we're going to begin with affirmative sentences. And affirmative sentences mean sentences that generally say, yes, I did this, right? So affirmative means yes, it is done. We are doing it. Okay, so these are simple affirmative sentences in the present tense. Tom visits my house for Thanksgiving. The students play soccer. Now, in order for me to make these affirmative sentences into affirmative sentences, but in the past tense, what do I need to do? Yes, all I need to do is add ed to my regular verbs to form the simple past, right? So now I got Tom visited my house for Thanksgiving. And I have the students, right? So this is something that we already saw. So you remember that we do need to know the rules. But we already saw this on our previous lesson. Now, what's new today? So affirmative sentence is one kind of sentence, correct? Yes, that's right. So let's go ahead and look at how to change the sentences to the past tense, right? So we have the cars stop suddenly to avoid the crash. So how do I change this sentence from the present simple to the past simple? Exactly. Just remember that all we need to do is add an ed to the verb. And for that, friends, we have to identify the verb. That is the very first step that we have to take, okay? So here we go. The cars stopped suddenly to avoid the crash. Remember that I said before, we do need to know the rules, right? So this verb stop needs to have a double P because it's a consonant, vowel, consonant kind of verb. It's short verb, right? So here we have it. We just add ed, but we do have to double the P. That's right. Okay, let's look at the second sentence. He helps his father in the farm. So how can I make this into the simple task? How can I change it? Okay, so once again, I need to identify the verb. Which one is the verb in this sentence? Yes, you got it. Helps, right? Now, this is in the third singular person, right? So I need to take away the S, that's right, and add an ED. So in the past tense, he helped his father in the farm. The next one, I want you to go ahead and pause the video and try to do it on your own. Okay, so just pause the video and work it out on your own, and then we will go ahead and do it together. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and read it first. The noise, the noise annoys her at night. Yes. So, which one is the verb in this sentence? Yes, the verb is annoys. Yeah, that's right. And how do I make this, change this from the simple present to the simple past? You got it by adding ed, that's right, to the verb. So here we go. The noise annoyed her at night. Very good. So again, just pause the video and take a moment to complete this sentence on your own. Okay, let's read it. I allow this to happen. So which one is the verb? Oh, not I. I is a pronoun, but allow is the verb. That's right. So how do I convert this from the present to the past? Yep, by adding ed. That's right. That's it. I allowed this to happen. Okay, so let's look at the last one. Actually, I got two more. My children study in a well-known school. How do I change this from present to past? Very good. So my verb is study, okay? And I'm just going to now change it. There we go. Now, so if we remember the rules, this one is a little bit different because this one has a consonant and a Y. So that means that I need to eliminate my Y and add an I-E-D. So my children studied in a well-known school. Okay, this is the last one. The lady completes her task before leaving. How do I make this from change this from present to past? Yep, I have to remember eliminate the s on my verb, which is completes. Okay, and I'm just going to add a d because I already have the e, right? So the lady completed her task before leaving. You guys are awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the first negative sentences, okay? So, how do I make my negative sentences? I don't know if you remember a while back, we talked about helping verbs, right? Do you remember that? Yes, so here I have my past tense sentence. Tom visited my house for Thanksgiving, or the students played soccer yesterday, right? So these are in the past, and I'm going to keep them in the past, but now I'm going to make them negative, right? So now I need them to say, no, that's not true. That's not what happened, okay? So how do I do that? Well, to form the negative sentence in the simple past, I need to use the auxiliary verb do, but in the past tense, which is did, right? Plus the word not. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Tom did not visit my house for Thanksgiving. And you notice that I lost the ed. Do you see that? Let's go back, look at it. Yeah, I have to take away the ed because now the did is taking that place. Okay, it's telling me that this sentence is in the past tense. Okay, so let's look at the second one. What do you think is going to happen? Yes, I'm going to lose my ed, correct, and I have to do what? Add the auxiliary verb did. That's right. So the students didn't play soccer yesterday. Okay, so I have it in the regular form on top, and then I have the contraction on the bottom, means exactly the same thing. That's right. Okay, let's go ahead and look at something else. Okay, so now we're going to practice. So these are the same sentences that we saw before, and now we're just going to change them from positive to negative. And what is it that I need to do? That's right. I need to use the auxiliary verb did and the word not in order to make sure that they stay in the past tense, but now in the negative form, right? So let's go ahead and do number one together. The noise annoyed her at night. So what do I need to do with this one? Yeah, I need to lose my ed, and here we have it. Let's do number two together. Okay, so I allowed this to happen. So how can I make this from positive to negative? Again, that's right. I am going to use the auxiliary verb did with the word not, right? And lose my ed on my verb. So let's look at it. Here we go. I didn't allow this to happen. Okay, friends, so now what I need you to do is I need you to pause the video and complete the next three sentences on your own, and then we'll come back together and review to make sure that we understand this skill. Okay? Okay, here we go. Ready? Okay, let's read number 3. The lady completed the project. So in order for me to change this from affirmative to negative, I am going to use the auxiliary verb did not and lose my be. That's correct. The lady did not complete the project. Let's look at the fourth one. My children studied at a well-known school. Good. My children didn't study at a well-known school. And please notice that. Let me go back for a second. Look at it and notice how we lose the IED and put the Y instead. Okay? Because we have to take our verb back to the infinitive form. The car stopped to avoid the crash. Yes, so what are we losing here? That's right, we're losing one of the P's plus the ED. So here we go. The cars did not stop to avoid the crash. Okay, so just remember, okay? Remember that the auxiliary did plus the word not forming the contraction also didn't shows that the sentence is negative and in the past. The main verb must remain in its base form, the infinitive. And look at the example. The boy didn't finish his project yesterday. Okay, okay, let's keep going. And now we're going to look at questions. That's right. So, kinds of questions in the past simple tense. And the first one that we are going to be looking at are yes and no questions. Okay? Did Tom visit my house last week? No, he didn't. Did the students play soccer yesterday? No, they didn't. Or yes, they did. Right? So use the auxiliary verb did when you make a yes or no question in the simple past. Remember that the auxiliary verb did, do, but in the past tense did, shows that the sentence is in the past tense. Okay? Okay. So here we have 3 examples. So what we're going to do now is we are going to do number 1 together, and then you're going to pause the video and complete the next ones, okay? Oh, sorry about that. So my students joined me on Zoom. So again, I am making questions using the auxiliary verb did because this question is going to be a yes and no question, okay? And in the past tense. So here we go. You see? Do you see what's happening? And do you notice my final full stop? Yes, it is a question mark. So let's go back. Let's go back and let's look at it again. So I need to lose my ed. Okay. I need to add my did and change my to a low cap because it's no longer the first word in the sentence. And my full stop needs to be a question mark. Okay. So again, pause the video and complete the next 2 sentences on your own. Okay, so here we go. Excellent. Hopefully you checked your work and it looks just like mine. Let's continue with our next type of sentences. So now we're going to look at informative questions, okay? And to make informative questions, we have to use the WH question words, and we also need to use the auxiliary verb did, so to make sure that they are in the past tense. Okay, remember that our verb does not need the ed ending. It's going to remain in the infinitive form, just like you see it right here. Okay, let's do some examples. Here we go. So what we're going to do now, we're going to change this yes and no questions into informative questions. I have given you the WH question word to do so. And let me go ahead and do number 1. Go ahead and do number 1 together. Okay, so here we go. We're going to be using the question word where, and Here we go. So you see, where did my student join me? Okay, so very simple. All we have to do is place the WH question word at the beginning of the question. Okay, let's go ahead, pause the video, do number 2 and number 3 together, and then join me and we will check our work. Okay, let's go ahead and check number 2. Did she identify the problem early on? So we're going to use the question word when. Okay, and here we go. When did she identify the problem? Okay, and if I was going to answer that question, then my verb needs to go back then to the past tense form. Okay, so she identified the problem early on, right? So that would be the answer to that. Let's go ahead and check number 3. What did the man admit? Right, very simple. So once again, we put the question word at the beginning. Okay, okay, friends. And this has brought us to our final exercise, which is in Canvas waiting for you. So remember to download the exercise, and when you finish, just upload it up again to Canvas or Google Classroom for us to check. Let's go ahead and look at the exercise. Okay, so this is what you're going to have. It's going to have probably a couple more sentences, but it's telling you exactly what is it that you need to do. So I'm giving you a sentence, and then I'm asking you to make it into a past tense sentence, and then convert it into a question, yes and no question word sentence. Okay, and so on and so forth. So remember, when you finish, just put it back on Canvas for us. Okay, and we have arrived at the end of another lesson, and I want to thank you for being here with me today.